this is CricketSong with Inner Wisdom, and this video I want to talk about claiming responsibility. The witch is a sovereign of his or her own power. We are responsible for our own witchcraft. I think we all agree with this. We acknowledge this. We know this. And if another being is harnessing our power, it's because we've allowed this exchange to occur, whether consciously or unconsciously, or intentionally or inadvertently. Because maybe we didn't protect ourselves or shield ourselves or ward ourselves, and another witch or magical practitioner has manipulated us and tapped into our energy. There are reasons why the witch would allow this to occur. Coven workings are a perfect example of this. When working in a coven, there's a merging of individual energies to create powerful spell castings. This is a type of blending of energy, a blending of personal power, and it's desired by all within that group. But what I want to discuss and contemplate is the idea of a witch claiming responsibility for something when it really isn't clear if they actually did what they claimed, or even if they had any influence whatsoever in what occurred, and how this is disempowering to the individual who experienced the event, and egotistical for the witch who is claiming sole responsibility for what occurred. So, let me explain what I mean by giving you an example. Okay, this is what I'm considering when I think about this. You've been in poor health for, let's say, about a month or so. You've gone to your primary care doctor who is stumped by your illness. So he sends you to a specialist for further testing. In the meantime, while you're waiting for the test results, you've been eating healthier, you're getting more rest than usual, you've been conscientious about the amount of water you consume because you know it will aid in flushing out any impurities in your system. You actively stay away from people you know who are ill, but after doing all this, you're still in poor health with an occasional good day. Nothing seems to be breaking the overall feeling of illness until one day the specialist's office calls you, the one you had an appointment with 2 weeks ago, and tells you that they have a diagnosis, you should come in right away. So you schedule an appointment for the very next day. 3 days later, you see your best friend, who is not a magical practitioner, they're a Cowan, and this friend asks you how you're doing. And you relay the good news that you're finally feeling better, and then your friend claims responsibility for your current good health. It was their doing, you're welcome. Like, what the fuck? From a mundane perspective, this scenario would suggest that your Cowan friend, the one that has no magical abilities, had some valuable medical knowledge and informed your physician of the underlying cause of your illness, right? I mean, that's amazing. Your friend must be Dr. Gregory House. I mean, really? It's rather a tad insane for your friend to claim responsibility for your returning health. Weren't you the one doing the work yourself for months? Weren't you putting in effort to return to your former state of well-being? Really, what did your friend do? Was your friend doing what was your friend even doing all the previous months before when you were trying to get better and you could have used their help then? And really, did you ask them to help you? From my perspective, it's rather presumptuous on your friend's part to claim responsibility for something you've been working on for months, right? So let's take that same example and spin it to be a magical perspective. That same example. So you've been in poor health for months, for a month or so. You've done all that I'd already described in the mundane sense, but now because we're looking at magical perspective, you've also done some magical workings to improve your health. You maybe have consumed some healing teas, maybe you've gotten a Reiki attunement or other healing modalities, crystal healings, other energy healings. You followed some of your grandmother's folk remedies. Maybe you've done spell castings for yourself, but you just can't seem to get rid of this underlying funk until one day the specialist's office that you had an appointment with previously, had all that testing done, they call you with a diagnosis, you schedule an appointment for the next day, you go in, great. 3 days later, on the winter solstice, you meet up with some pagan friends to celebrate the holiday. Most of them you haven't seen since before you started feeling ill. One of your witch friends asks, hey, how you feeling? And you share with that witch friend that you're feeling so much better. Thank you for asking. And that witch friend's response is, glad you like the Yule gift I gave you. Blessed be. Really? What the fuck? The implication here is that that witch friend cast a spell to make you better or to remove the curse that made you feel ill. Whatever or however he or she did it, he or she did it. Your current condition and your overall well-being had nothing to do with the work, the effort, or your own witchcraft. And that is just so absurd to me that I can't even fathom this. I mean, okay, even if I concede that others have the ability to influence us, if we are aligned with our own power, our own authentic witch self, our own magic, then another's will is just an influence and not more powerful than our own will. If we truly believe that we are the sovereign of our own power, then another's cannot override our own unless we allow it to happen. Thinking that I am able to discount your intention, your spiritual journey, is pure arrogance and ignorance on my part. It's working with someone's will and intention that is the key to influencing another to do as I desire or how I want them to think or feel and believe. Magic takes the path of least resistance, right? So finding a way into someone else's psyche is what witches do when they seek to manipulate another person for good or bane. Because you know what? It takes less effort to work with someone, to coerce someone, than to attack them. To work with consent and openness is easier than to fight against someone's own will or their own geas, their own purpose, their own authentic self. When another witch claims responsibility for something you've been working on, such as your health in the example I gave you, it attempts to remove the work and effort you've been expending on your own condition and focus on whatever he or she is capable of doing in order to show you how special they are or how powerful they are. The fellow witch is then implying that you were inept at handling your own shit, that you couldn't get it done without their help. But I don't believe that to be true at all. Claiming responsibility for another witch's castings or workings is undermining that witch's confidence in their own abilities. Why would anyone want to do that to someone else unless they themselves are feeling weak and insignificant and they need to prove to you how great they are? Putting someone else down in order to make you feel more powerful has been done throughout history. You probably know people in your life who do this. And I completely understand that every witch will not be friends with every other witch. And I realize that we can't all just get along, but I encourage you to evaluate why you do as you do. And in that same sense, question why someone else does what they do, especially if it is about you. Those are my thoughts. I love you. Blessed be.